The struggles that shape you are often the very moments you wish you could erase. Yet they become the foundation of everything strong, disciplined, and unstoppable within you. When you look back at the hardest chapters of your life, you can see how every setback was teaching you something you couldn't have learned any other way. These moments become the moments that refine you, not define you. You don't become powerful because things were easy. You become powerful because you endured what most people would have run from. The Rock often reminds people that the hard times he lived through, the scary times, the broke times, the uncertain times, did not break him. They built him into someone who refused to be average. That lesson applies to your life just as strongly. Every time you felt like giving up but didn't, you were shaping a version of yourself that could handle more, achieve more, and expect more out of life. Struggle tests you in ways that comfort never will. When things go smoothly, you don't question your strength, you don't expand your limits, and you don't learn how much you're capable of. But when you're pushed, when circumstances feel unfair, when you're backed into a corner with no plan B, that's when your true character emerges. In the moments where you feel alone, lost, or unsupported, something inside you starts to wake up. You begin to realize that no one is coming to save you, and the only option is to rise on your own. The Rock's story reflects this reality perfectly. His greatest breakthroughs didn't come during victories, they came during heartbreak, rejection, and moments where he doubted everything. Those struggles forced him to build resilience, discipline, and an unbreakable mindset. You've had your own versions of those chapters, and whether you noticed or not, they shaped you too. There is something powerful that happens when you accept the struggles instead of resenting them. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as the product of growth. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in mindset changes everything. Suddenly, obstacles no longer represent the end of the road. They become steps on the path. Every challenge forces you to develop new skills, new mindsets, and new levels of grit. That version of you, sharper, more focused, more determined, exists because of the storms you walked through, not despite them. You wouldn't be the person you are today without those difficult moments, even if they hurt. Hard times also reveal what you truly want. When life is easy, dreams can feel optional. When life hits you hard, you either let go or you decide to fight for what matters. Struggle strips away the noise and leaves behind only the things you're genuinely committed to. The Rock had numerous moments where giving up would have been easier. After losing football, after having only $7 in his pocket, after facing rejection in entertainment. But those low points clarified his purpose. Without struggle, he wouldn't have discovered the path that led him to global success. Your dreams, too, become clearer and stronger when you're tested. The things that survive the hard times are the things worth dedicating your life to. Another powerful element of struggle is that it builds gratitude. When you've been broke, success feels different. When you've been ignored, every opportunity feels valuable. When you've been at rock bottom, every step upward feels earned. People who've never struggled often take things for granted. But when you've been through real hardships, you appreciate every win, no matter how small. You become grounded, humble, and driven. Eve greatness and those who settle. Pain also reveals your true motivation. Anyone can work hard when they feel good, but working hard when your heart is heavy, when your mind is tired, when you feel discouraged, that's where champions are made. Pain removes the superficial reasons for success and leaves behind the things you deeply care about. It forces you to ask yourself, how badly do I really want this? If your answer is strong enough, pain becomes powerless. It stops controlling your decisions and becomes something you willingly endure for the sake of your purpose. This is how you turn pain into power. You attach it to something bigger than yourself. What many people don't realize is that pain also builds emotional toughness. When you've gone through enough in life, small problems stop bothering you. You develop a quieter mind, a thicker skin, a stronger backbone. You don't panic as easily. You don't break as easily. You carry yourself with confidence because you know you've already survived worse. Pain gives you perspective. It teaches you to choose your battles wisely. It teaches you what truly matters and who truly matters. It teaches you to trust yourself even when everything around you is uncertain. Turning pain into power also means refusing to let your past control your future. You stop seeing yourself as someone who was hurt and start seeing yourself as someone who overcame. You stop replaying your mistakes and start celebrating your growth. You stop hiding your wounds and start using them as proof of your strength. The Rock often speaks about the moments where he had nothing, no security, No certainty, no backup plan. Instead of letting that pain destroy him, he let it transform him. He took all the fear, frustration, and struggle and used it as motivation to create a life he once only dreamed about. You can do the same. Your pain can become your power if you make the decision to rise from it. When you transform pain into power, you unlock a version of yourself that is unstoppable.
Suddenly, challenges don't intimidate you. Hard work doesn't scare you. Failure doesn't define you.
You start leaning into difficulty instead of avoiding it. You become someone who doesn't just survive pain, you weaponize it. You turn your darkest moments into your greatest strengths. You stop letting circumstances control you and start controlling your response to them. That is how you build a mindset that cannot be shaken. The truth is, life will never stop presenting you with pain. But once you learn to convert that pain into strength, discipline, motivation, and hunger, it becomes your greatest advantage. Pain becomes the force that keeps you moving when others give up. It becomes the fire that keeps you grinding when others get comfortable. It becomes the reminder of everything you've overcome and everything you're still capable of becoming. And when you reach your goals, when you achieve the success you've been chasing, you'll look back and realize that the pain wasn't a setback at all. It was the reason you rose. It was the reason you grew. It was the reason you became unstoppable. Hard times create strong minds because they force you to think, react, and evolve in ways comfort never could. When life is smooth, your mind stays relaxed, unchallenged, and untested. But when adversity hits, when things fall apart, when doors close, when people disappoint you, your mind is pushed into a state of growth. Hard times demand mental strength the way heavyweights demand physical strength. You don't build a powerful mindset by avoiding struggle, you build it by surviving it. Every difficulty you faced has sharpened you in some way, even if you didn't notice it at the time. This sharpening is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary thinkers. People who don't fold under pressure, who don't panic when life shifts, who don't depend on circumstances to stay strong. They learn that mindset from walking through the fire.
A strong mind is not something you're born with. It is something you earn through experience. Hard times train you to control your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts control you. When life puts you in uncomfortable situations, your mind learns to adapt. When you feel overwhelmed or uncertain, your mind learns to strategize. When you've been let down or betrayed, your mind learns to trust itself more. Little by little, hardship teaches you not to react emotionally to every situation. Instead, you learn to think clearly, stay calm, and make decisions based on strength rather than fear. The Rock's mental toughness didn't appear magically. It was built during the moments he felt lost, broke, or defeated. He learned to stay focused on what he could control and to never let difficult circumstances decide his worth or his future. You have gone through your own versions of those moments, and they have quietly strengthened your mind more than you know. Hard times also teach you resilience. You learn that even when things seem impossible, you can still push through. Every time you recover from disappointment or failure, your mind becomes stronger. You start building inner evidence that you are capable of overcoming challenges. This internal proof becomes the foundation of confidence. Confidence doesn't come from hearing compliments or achieving easy victories. It comes from remembering the battles you survived. When you've walked through darkness and still kept going, your mind becomes unshakable. You start believing in your ability to handle whatever comes next because you've handled so much already. This belief is what allows you to take bigger risks, aim for larger goals, and learn to do the work because it matters to you, not because it will impress someone. This freedom is powerful. It allows you to stay locked in on your goals without constantly wondering who is watching. You become driven by purpose instead of ego, and perhaps the most rewarding part of embracing the silent grind is that when the results finally come, when you reach that goal, achieve that dream, or transform your life, you know with absolute certainty that you earned it. You didn't rely on luck. You didn't depend on attention. You didn't need applause. You did it through discipline, consistency, and quiet determination. That kind of pride, the pride of knowing that you built your life through effort no one else saw, is priceless. It gives you confidence, gratitude, and humility all at once. So embrace the grind when no one is watching. That is where your future is being built. That is where your strength is being formed. That is where your greatness is being shaped. The world may eventually see your results, but only you will ever know the depth of the discipline it took to get there. And that is what makes the journey worth it.
Your breaking point is your breakthrough because the moments when you feel the most overwhelmed, the most defeated, and the most exhausted are often the exact moments when transformation is happening beneath the surface. Most people think that breaking is a sign of weakness, but the truth is, breaking is part of the process. It's the moment where your old limitations crack open, where your excuses dissolve, and where you are forced to discover strength you didn't know you had. When you reach a point where you feel like you have nothing left, that's when you start tapping into the deeper parts of yourself. The grit, the resilience, the hunger, the determination that only show up under pressure. This is exactly what The Rock means when he talks about hitting emotional and physical walls. Those walls don't exist to stop you, they exist to reveal you. A breaking point is the moment when life pushes you hard enough that you cannot stay the same. You either collapse or you rise. You either surrender or you evolve. This moment forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your limits. It exposes the parts of you that have been holding you back. It puts you in a place where you must decide whether you want your future more than your comfort. It's in these difficult moments that your identity starts to shift. You begin to understand that you're not defined by your past failures or your current pain. You are defined by your willingness to continue. People often avoid breaking points because they're uncomfortable, painful, and full of uncertainty. But these moments build the kind of strength that comfort could never produce. Reaching your breaking point also teaches you the power of endurance. When you push through a moment where you genuinely felt like stopping, you discover that your limits were never real. They were just mental barriers. Once you break through them, you become a different version of yourself, stronger, more confident, more unshakable. You gain proof that you can survive things that once terrified you. Every breakthrough strengthens your self-belief because you begin to understand that pain is temporary but growth is permanent. The Rock's mindset evolved through hitting dozens of personal breaking points, losing football, being cut from teams, having only $7 in his pocket. Each breaking point forced him to rebuild himself stronger, and each time he did, his belief in himself deepened. Your breaking point also pushes you into a state of clarity. When everything around you feels like it's falling apart, the noise in your life disappears. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop pretending to be someone you're not. You stop wasting time on people who don't support you. Breaking forces you to see the truth. And with truth comes direction. People often find their purpose, their passion, or their mission right after hitting a breaking point. The pain strips away the unnecessary and reveals what your heart genuinely wants. That clarity becomes the foundation for your breakthrough. Another powerful part of breaking points is that they force you to create new strength. You can't rely on old habits, old mindsets, or old strategies anymore. You are forced to evolve. You are pushed to become the kind of person who can handle the next level of your life. Growth doesn't happen when things are comfortable. Growth happens when your back is against the wall, and you have no choice but to push forward. Even if you fail, even if you fall, even if you feel broken inside, every step you take beyond that breaking point is building a stronger version of you. The breakthrough is not just the moment you overcome the challenge, it's the process of becoming someone who no longer fears the challenge. Your breaking point also teaches you humility and gratitude. When you've been brought to your knees by life, you gain a deeper appreciation for the moments of peace, the victories, the opportunities, and the blessings that follow. You become more grounded. You stop complaining about small things. You start recognizing your inner power. This shift changes your entire mindset. You're no longer fragile. You're no longer easily shaken. You know what it feels like to be at the bottom, and because of that, you work harder, stay hungrier, and remain more disciplined than ever. What most people don't understand is that breakthroughs rarely come with fireworks, applause, or celebration. They often come quietly. They come in the moment you decide to get up one more time. They come in the moment you stop running from pain and start facing it. They come in the moment you choose strength over surrender. A breakthrough can simply be the moment you refuse to quit. That one decision can change the entire direction of your life. The beauty of reaching a breaking point is that once you break through it, nothing is ever the same again. Your mindset changes, your standards change, your energy changes. You move differently because you know what it took to survive that moment. And when future challenges come, you're not afraid, you're prepared. You've already defeated worse. That's why your breaking point is truly your breakthrough. It is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. It shapes your character, sharpens your mind, and strengthens your spirit. Instead of seeing breaking points as the end, see them as the beginning of your rise, your evolution, your transformation. Because every time you reach that point and choose to keep going, you unlock a new level of power that will carry you forward to success you never imagined. Remembering where you started and never losing hunger is one of the most powerful principles you can live by, because it keeps you grounded, disciplined, and fiercely motivated no matter how much success you achieve. When life starts improving, when you gain comfort, when opportunities begin to open up, it's easy to forget the days when you struggled, the days when you were uncertain, the days when you had to fight for every inch. But those early struggles are the fuel that built you. They shaped your character, your strength, your determination, and your work ethic. They reminded you that nothing was ever handed to you. You earned every step. The Rock speaks about this constantly. Even at the top of the world, he still remembers the days he had nothing. He remembers the $7 in his pocket. He remembers the rejection, the failures, and the heartbreaks. This memory keeps him hungry. It keeps him humble. It keeps him grinding like he's still at the bottom. When you remember where you started, you protect yourself from becoming complacent. Success can make people soft if they let it. Comfort can make people forget the hunger that pushed them to grow in the first place. When things are going well, it's tempting to relax, to coast, to assume that the progress you've made will continue without effort. But life doesn't work that way. The moment you stop pushing yourself, you start slipping backward. Remembering your beginnings prevents this. It acts as a reminder that your growth was built on sacrifice, hard work, discipline, and consistency, not luck. When you reconnect with that early version of yourself, the one who struggled but kept going, you reignite the fire that made you unstoppable from the beginning. Never losing hunger also means staying connected to your purpose. The hunger is not just about success, it's about meaning. It's about wanting to improve yourself every single day. It's about refusing to settle, even when you reach a level that others might be satisfied with. Hunger is the force that makes you strive for more, not because you want to impress anyone, but because you know you're capable of more. It's about chasing growth, mastery, and self-respect. The Rock trains like he's preparing for the biggest moment of his life every single day, not because he has to, but because he refuses to forget the man who once felt powerless. That early version of him still exists inside him, pushing him to never waste the opportunities he fought so hard to earn. Remembering where you started also gives you perspective. It reminds you how far you've come. It allows you to see your journey clearly, instead of only focusing on the struggles you face right now. When you remember your past, you realize that the problems you face today are often problems you once prayed for. The challenges you deal with now used to be dreams. This perspective humbles you. It grounds you. It fills you with gratitude. Gratitude fuels hunger because it reminds you that your progress is valuable and worth protecting. When you appreciate how far you've climbed, you refuse to slide back down. Another powerful part of remembering your beginnings is that it strengthens your resilience. When you face new obstacles, remembering your past struggles shows you that you've overcome worse before. You've survived setbacks, you've handled heartbreak, you've endured situations you thought would break you. So why would you quit now? When you reconnect with the version of yourself who fought through those earlier storms, you tap into the same unbreakable strength you used back then. That strength never left you. It just needs to be awakened. Hunger is not just physical drive, it's emotional resilience, mental toughness, and spiritual grit. Never losing hunger also separates you from people who rely on motivation. Hunger is deeper than motivation. Motivation fades. It depends on emotions, moods, and circumstances. Hunger is constant. It comes from identity, not feelings. When you're hungry, you don't need perfect conditions to work. You don't need encouragement. You don't need applause. You push forward because it's who you are. This is why The Rock can train at 4 a.m., travel the world, juggle multiple careers, and still outwork people half his age. He's not chasing hype. He's fueled by hunger built from decades of remembering the struggle. Your beginnings also remain. DU of your why. Why you started. Why you refused to quit. Why you chose the path you're on. When you lose sight of your why, your hunger fades. But when you remember why you fought so hard to change your life, you reignite that fire instantly. That early version of you, the one who dreamed, who hoped, who believed, still deserves the best from you. You can't abandon them now. You owe it to that version of yourself to keep going, to keep improving, to keep striving for greatness. Most importantly, remembering where you started keeps you human. It keeps you connected to your roots, grateful for your growth, and hungry for your potential. It allows you to help others, to inspire others, and to remain grounded even as you climb higher. People respect those who rise, but never forget their origins. They respect those who succeed but remain humble. They respect those who stay hungry no matter how much they achieve. So remember your beginnings. Remember the pain, the doubt, the grind, the hunger. Keep it close. Let it drive you. Let it remind you that you didn't come this far to become comfortable. You came this far to become unstoppable. And if you never lose your hunger, you will continue to rise, higher than you ever imagined.